by welcoming all of you. I know this is May 1st, and many of you must be enjoying your long weekend already. But as I welcome you all today, I just wanted to take a moment to reflect on this journey. What began as a small step to support parents and educators in understanding early childhood development and has now grown into a meaningful community, a big community. Um, your continued participation, your curiosity, and the trust that you have built on us has become a driving force behind everything that we are doing at Little Leaps. And it is your engagement that motivates us to keep creating these learning spaces and to bring together experts from across the world to share insights on early childhood development. So, thank you for being part of this journey and for allowing Little Leaps to grow with all of you. So, yeah, today I am truly honored to invite our guest speaker, Timothy Seldin. We call him very popularly, he's known as Tim Seldin. Tim Seldin is the president of the Montessori Foundation and the founder of past chair of the International Montessori Council. With over 50 years of experience in Montessori education, he has served as the head of the Barry School in Maryland for 22 years and as the executive director of the New Gate School in Florida for 15 years. He is also the co-founder of the Institute for Advanced Montessori Studies and the Center for Guided Montessori Studies. Tim holds a BA in History and Philosophy from Georgetown University and MD in Educational Administration from the American University and his Montessori certification from the American Montessori Society. He is the author of several influential books on Montessori education, including How to Raise an Amazing Child, Montessori for Every Family, and the Montessori Way, among others. So, Tim, thank you for joining us today. It's a privilege to have you here with Little Leaps. And today we are here to explore the topic Living the Montessori Way. And I would love to begin our conversation with the basic question about your book, especially the Montessori Way and Montessori for Every Family. So these books, what do they emphasize? How do they emphasize living Montessori beyond schools? How would you define these Montessori principles that can be executed in daily life?
Well, one of the books is called The Montessori Way, and the message there is that Montessori is a way of life, and it can be used in all sorts of settings, from an orphanage, it can be used in the office, it can be used in your family life, it can influence how you design the home, what kinds of things are available to your children, but more importantly, it's a way of relating to one another. So it's a way of parents forming a marriage. It's a way of working with your children. It's a way of dealing with your own brothers and sisters and your own parents. So it's a philosophy of life.
Mm-hmm. And Tim, I wanted to just know what made you get into the world of Montessori. You being bachelor's in history and philosophy, what made you delve into the Montessori world?
Well, I always intended to become an attorney and then maybe a politician, but I was drawn into the work my family began. They founded the Barry School back in 1932. And really, I found that was more meaningful than anything else I could think of to do as a career. So I was drawn into it step by step, and I didn't originally want to do it.
Oh, well, and then what inspired you to actually do it then?
Well, the actual thing that inspired me was that Martin Luther King was shot in April of 1968. My mother called me. I was a graduate student at the time, and she said, "Would you drive down to the school in the city and see if it's okay?" Because there was rioting. I arrived there, and there was all sorts of chaos going on, and the school was surrounded by by older men who were all facing outward. One of them comes up to me and says, "Are you Francis Seldin's son?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Yeah, get that stupid car up the hill and get out of sight. Get down here and help us." So the bottom line is, I was at the end of 3 days of scaring off people from the neighborhood who wanted to burn down the school. I heard all kinds of stories about how my mother and the school had changed lives, and I had gone to the school myself, so I knew it, but I didn't appreciate it. At the end of 3 days, I called my mother up and said, "Okay, you wanted me to do this. You tell me what you want, I'll do it." And I never looked back. That's what I did.
Wow. So you started your journey in school in 1960s, and it's 2026 now. So do you see any change in the education, in the way Montessori philosophy has changed based on the time and the generation? Do you see any change? And whether it is
Well,
progressive or still the same?
I think the story that I encountered at the beginning is still going on today. I mean, obviously there's technological differences with smartphones and the internet and so forth, but the Montessori community was always confused. There were always people who were doing whatever they wanted and saying this is what Montessori is. Um, there never were any Montessori police that could stop someone from doing that. So Montessori means different things to different people. And I've come to accept that. I do believe that the work of Maria Montessori is first off not unique. I mean, it's part of a larger tapestry of people throughout history who have tried to talk about the nature of what makes us human. Are human beings naturally selfish? Are we naturally violent? Or are we capable of something different, better? Obviously, what is the nature of childhood? Are children, is intelligence fixed at conception? And of course, as you probably tell from the title of one of my books, How to Raise an Amazing Child, we argue that intelligence is not rare, and that all children are amazing, and that they can be encouraged to become the best they can possibly be. So it's a philosophy of life. It has to do with relationship, a partnership between men and women, between the rich and poor, between adults and children. The whole idea is that we can learn to live a better way, even though we may be socially conditioned to think that it can't be that way.
Yes, that's true. Um, I mean, now that you are talking about how to raise an amazing child, and you are saying that intelligence is present in every child from birth, and they all have equal potential they're born with, right? So,
I won't go that far as to say they're all equal. The reality is we're all different. But I will say that most of us are capable of much more than other people think we could do,
yes,
and or that we think we could do. And I think that life works better when you approach life as a celebration and a fascination and a willingness to learn new things and to try new things and to take risks.
yeah. So what I meant was basically children are born with same potential, but it's the ecosystem, it's their external environment, the physical and the human environment that supports or may destroy or may change the total outlook or decide their true potential, isn't it? So I want to I want to ask you how to make parents understand what these children are, what potential are we talking about, and how to support this potential, because we as adults are also coming with our own childhood baggages. So
Mhm.
how to get past those baggages and get beyond it and try to help the child reach their true potential.
Well, again, I think one of the mistakes that people make is they think that somehow or another they can mold their children. If only they get them the right tutor, if they only enroll them in the right after school classes, that, somehow this is what's going to do it. And, humans are unique. And your child is a person now, not someday when she grows up. And she is not a piece of clay to be molded. She is a person in her own rights, and she has thoughts and she has opinions, and she'll try things, and some things she'll be good at and some things will not come naturally. And I think if we simply enjoy each other for who we are and try to let go of our prejudice and our biases about what girls are good at, or what children of one ethnic group are good at or not good at, or what all Americans are like. I mean, don't judge us by our president. The bottom line is that, children are capable of wonderful things, and we're on a journey with them, and they're essentially holding our hands, and they're walking through this same journey that we are, but they have their own destiny.
Yeah.
So again, I think the idea is to follow the child. I mean, that's one of the famous Montessori quotes. And what that really means is try to shut up and listen. Try to really see what's going on with your child. Ask them questions, but don't assume that you know who they are, what they're thinking, but do ask questions like, tell me more. Tell me more about that. What are you interested in? What are you thinking these days, darling? And don't assume that another human being, whether it's your best friend or your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, your husband or wife, that they really want to tell you exactly what the truth is. But it never hurts to let them know that you care, that you're listening, that you want to see them for who they really are, and you're not there to judge them. You're just there to enjoy them. It's complicated because some people hear me talk about this and they think that I'm telling them, let your child do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And that's not at all what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking is that children should have freedom to find their own voice, to have their own opinions, to have their own interests, and to choose as many things in their lives as possible rather than being told, now you're going to do this, now you're going to do that. But not everything is a choice. The world is not always fair. Not everything that human beings do is okay. Their freedom stops when they start interfering with someone else. And so the whole idea is to figure out a way to live in what we would call partnership, which is, that the other people around us, whether it's our children or our spouse or our parents or our brothers and sisters, our friends, they're good people in their own right. Sometimes they'll annoy us, sometimes it won't. Sometimes we'll annoy them. Anything living is trouble. Anything living takes work. That's the reality. And I think the idea of what it is to be a parent is to first off be present, unconditional love, recognizing that, you brought these children into the world. They are part of your world. They will be until the day one of you dies. And you're not there to mold them. You are there to appreciate them. You are there to feed them and do things to make sure they're as safe as they can be. But ultimately, they're on their own path, just as you're on your own path. And so the whole idea is that, these children are not jewelry. They're not an accessory to your clothing. They are distinct human beings. And let's teach them how to be kind and courteous, and how to make their own bed in the morning, and how to cook meals and balance a budget and things like that. We want them to learn to be able to do what we have learned how to do as adults. And we also need to be willing to learn from them, because they'll probably go far beyond us in various areas. We all do.
That's true. That's true. So I have a question over here. More than a question, I just, it's a pondering, because observation that I see when we were young and we were made to do tasks at home, um, our parents were struggling, and I will share about my own experience. My mother being a housewife, and my father was working, and we were three children, so she needed hand at home for support. So we always felt, we are supporting our parents or our family because they don't have enough money to have help at home, and not because it is making me independent. And I see this, it's an observation that many of adults from my generation have that thought process, which has led them to actually not allow children to do these small daily life tasks, because they feel that this is not to be done by the child. Instead, either we can take help, or we can do for the child ourselves, but not really make the child do this because it's not useful to them. Apart from that, nowadays parents work. Both the parents are working parents, so they hardly have any time either to spend with their children. And I see many young toddlers being, left at home either with grandparents or with nannies, and they are seeing their children at the end of the day. So, of course, the parents are guilty, the child understands that, and the child is trying to find their way out to get their things done, get their demands fulfilled. Now, how do we strike that balance in such environment where we can contribute in the child's development in terms of becoming independent?
Well, first off, you raised the issue of parents who were raised in poverty, or who were struggling and couldn't afford help and felt that having help was desirable.
Yeah.
And I mean, certainly it's lovely to have help. I have a maid in the other room who's helping me clean the house. So the issue is, number one, if you had endless money, at what point is it not appropriate in your own life to have someone do things for you? It's nice to be able to afford someone to drive you. It's nice to have someone who goes out and does the shopping. It's nice to have someone who watches the children for you. On the other hand, at what point do you become a pampered cat, where you basically are useless? The whole idea of independence is knowing that you are capable of doing things for yourself and doing them pretty darn well. That doesn't mean that you have to do everything for yourself. If you could afford it, fine. If you want to hire someone to do it, it gives them an income and it gives you a little bit more time. And I think all of us, we struggle with life. We have to make decisions. I mean, in much of the world, the time it takes to drive from your home to the office and the hours we put in, there's hardly any time. So we end up enrolling our children in a school, or hiring someone to care for them, or perhaps having grandma and grandpa do it.
Yeah.
Again, I think the struggle is, how do we ensure that our children don't grow up thinking that the world owes them a living, that everyone will take care of them, that they are little princes and princesses who can behave any way they want to other people. I mean, I think the whole point is we're trying to raise good human beings. And part of that is giving them a sense of dignity, of independence, of self-reliance. It's also the idea that even if we have employees who work for our family, they are real people too. They are not invisible robots. They are real people. They deserve respect. We should have gratitude. And by the way, we should know how to do what they know how to do, because you won't always have enough money. I mean, for example, when you left your parents' house and you went to university, reasonable chance you had to start making some decisions on your own. And that's part of growing up. And when you set up your own house, you may or may not have the money to have help. So again, knowing how to cook, knowing how to shop, knowing how to take care of your own money, knowing how to be an adult is part of being a well-raised child. And that's what we're trying to do. And it's social emotional as well as practical skills.
Absolutely. And yeah, it makes so much sense what you just said. Um, we think independence is just about knowing to do things on your own, but when you become independent, you know how much effort it takes to do that task. So you respect the people in the world who are doing those stuff as well. And I think, yeah, as you said, this shows how you are raised well. Becoming a good human being is also part of that independence, perhaps. So yeah, it's so
Yeah.
beautiful, so beautiful. Um, however, what I wanted to ask also is nowadays everything now that as you rightly mentioned that children are put into different classes, extracurricular activities when because the daily tasks are not so important. Instead, let's put them in a basketball class or a music class or a keyboard class or a theater class, whatever. So as much as it is great, how we can uh, make that balance and make the children understand that even if they are doing, yes, it is important to have those skills also, but what is the right age to begin these tasks, the daily tasks, like you said, folding your bed or being part of cooking together or doing the laundry together? What is the right age to begin with? When can parents start thinking about and include children in doing those tasks at home and set clear boundaries for children to complete those tasks as well?
Pretty close to birth. I mean, when a child is mobile, they can start. For example, if a child can't carry a plate to the table without dropping it, probably carry a cloth napkin and put it on the table. They can begin learning to do things from an early age. And again, the young child's experience is not going to be, let's get the job done quickly. The job itself can be distracting. They can become obsessed with folding a napkin or something. The bottom line is you're trying to give them a feeling that they're part of the family, that they matter, that they can do real things in the real world, and we appreciate them. So that's part of it. The other is the idea that everyone in this family does something, even if we have a cook or someone in the house to help. We all work together. Um, that's just the idea of being democratic, even if the real world is you may have more money than the people who you employ who need that money. You're probably not paying them as much as you're paid. Again, the world isn't fair. The trick is, though, to teach people that every human soul matters, that the people who help us in our home or who work for us in our business are real people. They have real lives, they have real dreams, they have real people they love and who love them, and we need to celebrate them and have a relationship with them that is a little better than simply they're our servant. That's the idea of being kind in the world.
Yes, yes. And in the current time, I think we need more such kind of environments created for young children to become such people. Yeah.
I believe so. And again, the other thing is, the skills that children are going to need are changing so rapidly that the whole issue of how, as a parent, do you get your child a good education? Who knows with AI and robotics, what kind of jobs are going to be available in 10 years, 20 years? I mean, there will be jobs. The question is, what will they be? And how do you help children to prepare? The one thing I would say is that knowing how to start a business and figure out where is there a need that other people will pay you for that service, whatever that is, how to organize it, because you can't usually do it all yourself. How do you employ people and turn them into a team that's effective? Um, how do you manage money? How do you understand the law? I mean, there's so much to learn in the real world. And again, to me, there's the issue of the ethics, what we call the Montessori Way, of how we treat people, how we do things, and the idea of learning how to be flexible and adaptable so that, no matter how the economy changes, there's always something that people need. And the trick of how do you organize a business and run it so that you're meeting the needs of other people around you and being paid for that service.
Yes. So basically, you are saying that empower children with future life skills so that they are ready for any change and can quickly adapt to those changes.
Correct.
Yes. So, uh, I would like you to explain to our audience how being part of these daily life activities is helping children develop this future life skill. Because nowadays, the word competence has become, the latest trend. Every parent want their child to become competent. Now, they know being competent is good, but when I speak to the parents, I feel that somewhere they do not understand the deep meaning of what competence actually means. So and they do not have the understanding to link these daily life activities with competency. So if you can help understand them and help them build that link so that they get more encouragement and motivation to try that with their children at home.
To me, this whole idea of children being competent and well prepared is a misunderstanding. What you really want to do is instill certain worldviews or values. For example, one of the worldviews is that you, as a human being, you belong, that you're imperfect. You're not the queen of the school. You're not the prettiest, the smart. In other words, those are silly ideas. There are going to be people who love you. There are going to be people that don't even know you exist and don't care about you. There'll be people who are mean to you. That's the real world. That doesn't mean it should be that way. It just is real. So helping children to understand, first off, that they have value, even if other people don't like them, so that you're not simply judging your own value according to what the last person you met says about you or the way they treat you, to know that there are going to be people in the world who aren't very nice people, and you're going to have to deal with that. And you don't, that doesn't make you any less valuable. Secondly, that there are skills that allow us to be more likely to make more friends than enemies. So learning how to talk to other people, to cultivate friendship, to develop deep relationships with your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your friends, and of course, at some point, your life partner. The idea of how to be a good human being, those are skills. When it comes to competency, when you believe that you are loved, that you are lovable, that you are competent, competent is the idea that as a human being, you're capable of learning new skills. Sometimes the skill will be something you choose. Sometimes it'll be something that necessity demands of you. There's no choice. You must do it. We're getting ready to move from one city to the next. So you're going to have to deal with change, and you're going to have feelings about the change. You may be upset about it. You may be crying. You may be scared, but we can't make it go away. We're going to have to deal with it. And we have to learn how to adapt to the new situation where we're living. But the idea that you as a human are capable of learning new skills, that sometimes you're the one choosing those skills, you're interested in it. Sometimes it's part of what it required to become a doctor, a lawyer, whatever it is you're studying. All of this is part of life. I mean, learning how to obey the law, learning how to drive a car, learning how to find your way in the city, learning self-defense, learning how to operate on a budget. These are skills that you must learn. And I think more than anything, we're trying to get children who are balanced emotionally so that they're not creating havoc among the people they know, that they're basically good people. And we want to instill that that habit of mind that is, I can learn how to learn. I can learn new skills. I can master new things. I can become competent. And sometimes it'll be fun and sometimes it won't be fun, but I can still do it.
Yeah, that's true. I just wanted to uh, talk about this. I was having this discussion one day with my husband because we see nowadays with my own child and other children, we often teach our children to uh, make themselves priority over their surroundings. So, if you feel that somebody is trying to exploit you or take advantage of you, then you should have the capability to say no.
Mm-hmm.
You should have the capability to make people do things as much as you are. When you are working as a team, it should be equal, contribution of the entire team, and not just one person toiling hard and the other people are just, kind of sitting there and watching you do the tasks, right? But as much as we are encouraging children to think about themselves first and see if it's benefiting or not, we also see that children are becoming more self-centric. Uh, I think they are too young. So when we are saying that learn to say no, or when you feel like this is not something that you must do and you want the other person to do it, um, they don't see the value of it, but they just understand the idea that okay, now I can take a back seat and I can rest and I can ask the other person to do, and somehow uh, they are becoming more of self-oriented, thinking only about what will be. I don't know if it is good or bad because they are too young to decide that, but what will be convenient for them at that moment. So, how can we make, I don't know, how can we help children understand that this concept without changing or without making them more self-centric? Because it's very fine line and it's difficult to make them understand that there is a difference. So how do we do that?
Well, first off, as you're saying, for adults, sometimes these are things that we ourselves are still learning. The whole idea that we're not the center of the universe, that the other people around us have their own needs, their own wants, their own emotions, that sometimes people are illogical and irrational. It doesn't always, life is not always fair. Things are not always easy. In fact, again, my grandmother's saying, anything living is trouble, anything living takes work. Teaching yourself these truths and understanding that, life is still okay. There are days when you're happy, there are days when you're sad, there are days when you're scared, there's days when you feel sick. This is all part of the reality of life. And one of the joys in our life is the relationships we have with the people that we love the most, our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, and our children. And by the way, these same people can make us crazy at times, right? I mean, what person in any country of the world doesn't periodically, think that their mother doesn't understand them and she's deeply annoying, even though they love her dearly. And what mother doesn't periodically feel that about her son or daughter? Helping children learn life lessons, the truth of the way the world really is one of our great tasks as parents. And it's one of our great tasks as human beings, trying to be the best people we can. So again, the idea of the Montessori way is not unique to Montessori. It's just that Maria Montessori was not a religious leader. Many religions teach similar things. She simply was somebody who was a scientist who happened to notice that children seemed to be different than the way people thought they were. I mean, people have all kinds of weird ideas about children, that little children don't know what's going on. The reality is they probably, their lives depend on paying attention to what adults are feeling. They may not understand everything, but they They are keyed in. Um, the idea that again, Maria Montessori's great question was, is humanity condemned to self-destruction? Are we inherently violent? Is that human nature? And of course, it is part of human nature. We are capable of violence. However, we're also capable of nonviolence. We're capable of wisdom. We're also capable of being stupid. So the idea of recognizing that it is not hardwired that all men are aggressive and violent, that all women are gentle. In the reality, some women are quite violent or difficult, and some men are very gentle. That humans are capable of lots of different things, and that what we're trying to do is to bring out the best that's within each of us. That's our journey as human beings in this world. And Montessori simply argued that because she was interested as a woman who had gone to university, had a medical degree, was out there without a husband, and just kept saying, little girls are capable. I know little girls are capable. Why do people not think they're capable? How can I prove it? Well, she proved it. And you and so many other women in the world are living proof that you're capable of doing anything, running businesses, being scientist, doctor, whatever. And so the idea of re-examining humanity and our sense of what is human nature, and also our understanding of the first years of life and what people can do, what society can do, what school can do to try to bring out the best in human beings. So when a parent comes home from the hospital with a new baby, she doesn't come home with a user's manual. She doesn't know what to do. All she knows how to do is what comes instinctively, or what she learned from her mother, father, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, or what she sees on TV, which may or may not be the truth. So what Montessori was trying to do is help parents like the parents you work with around the world to learn more about how they can be better parents, and how teachers and school leaders can build better classrooms, better schools. That's really what Montessori is all about. Forgive me, I seem to have a tickle in my throat.
Would you like to have some water before you talk?
It's okay. Just a tickle in my throat. I do have a dog that's trying to climb into my lap. So,
Yeah.
where were we?
So we were talking about children becoming more self-centric these days, and as adults, we are not finding that right way to communicate with children, to as much as value their own priorities, also understand the other person's maybe need or their potential, and be more empathetic and understanding, and be contributing as a social member of the society.
Yeah, I think that one of the issues today all over the world is that children have access to the internet. Unless your country censors the internet, they can see all kinds of things on TV, in the movies, and on the internet, and in just talking to each other. And so one of the things that this has done is tended to create children who have an unrealistic sense of what the real world is like. Forgive me. And we sometimes call this the anxious generation. Children who are constantly comparing themselves to other people, and who just don't feel they're good enough, rich enough, pretty enough, handsome enough. So again, I think with parents and parents themselves may be having some of the same thing. I mean, if you're sitting there in a taxi cab or on a train, endlessly scrolling through social media, looking at silly things that people have posted online, You yourself can begin to become desensitized to all kinds of things and disconnected from real people. I think that being outdoors in nature, gardening, growing food, working with animals, living with animals, learning to be of service to other people, getting involved in charity where you're actually involved instead of just giving money. All of these things tend to help us be more spiritually connected without necessarily being connected to through a faith organization. I mean, it's one thing to go to a temple, but it's another thing to just in your daily life become a better human being.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so basically we have to be the role model, as we always, Maria Montessori has said, be the role model for the children and see, I mean, um, don't just preach, practice what you want to see in them. Yeah.
Yeah, and all you can't do anything other than the best that you know how to do. But I think if we realize the tremendous power that we have as adults in the lives of children, that if we are hypocritical or if we're saying one thing and doing something else, we are teaching our children exactly uh, how to be like us. So, you do the best you can. I mean, you can't be what you're not, but you can choose to try to become a better person each day.
Yes.
And I think, this goes back to your theme for our talk, which is the Montessori way. I mean, you could just as easily say this is the Gandhi way, or this is the way of peace, or this is the way of the great spiritual teachers throughout history. It's the idea of kindness and charity and working together. The bottom line is there are many ways to find truth, to find God, to find meaning in your life, however you want to think of it. But we're all human. We're all people. We all go through life. And my fundamental belief is that Montessori is practical because she looked at a piece of life that historically people looked at very differently. I mean, there have been lots of educators who said lots of things, but usually it was either how to make your child read earlier, which, okay, kids can learn sign language. They could learn to read at an early age. On the other hand, it doesn't make them any better or worse. It is. I think giving them a love of ideas, a love of literature, a love of trying to communicate their own thoughts, whether in writing or verbal, I think those are bigger than your ability to read and write. So again, I think the goal here is Montessori's recognition of the dignity of the child, the idea that the child is not some little angel. She is a real human being, that she is the mother of the woman she will become. And that as adults, our role is to try to help her become part of our circle, to learn how to do what we know how to do, which hopefully is more than simply go shopping.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. In today's, I think, world of social media, everybody is running towards the shopping mall because they want to post reels, and for every post, they need new clothes. So, yeah, that's what we are showing the children as well. You will be judged or you will be respected or valued based on what you are wearing, where you are going, what you are eating. And if we show this to children, of course, the children will also see the world that way. So, yeah, it's absolutely true.
Yeah. And again, there are all kinds of ways to live your life and to raise children, and who am I to judge? All I can say is that it seems to me that if you realize that your child is not you, to paraphrase the prophet, Gibran, the child is not you. She is her own soul. She is her own person. Um, it doesn't mean she's perfect, but she has her own mind, and you're traveling down that road with her. And to me, this is true of all life. Like I live with, in addition to children and grandchildren and wife and the people in my life, I also have animals, horses and dogs and cats, and they are also, they are true expressions of love and mind and intelligence that are fellow travelers on this planet. And that's part of it, the idea that we are connected to the earth, that we are connected to each other, that we need to do whatever good we can do in the world, that life is not fair. Things that are going on in the world are not always pretty, but we can try to make the world a little better in our own sphere. And especially for those of us who run schools or run families, we have the ability to influence other people. And let's try to influence them in a way that really works.
I mean, it's not about doing big or small. Even a small step matters because, as we say, every drop in the ocean makes the ocean what it is. So yes, every effort makes that change. So that's very true.
One thing we haven't discussed yet is the Montessori way in adult relationships, particularly in the world of business.
Yes.
But it'd be just as true in a family, in a marriage. The idea of the Montessori way in the office is that yes, I mean not everyone is an equal. There's someone who's the owner of the company. There's someone who's the boss. There's someone who has more experience, more power, more authority. It's the larger the company, the more likely this is. But it's the idea that one, our company is no stronger than the people who are part of the company. And what we want to do instead of making them afraid, we want to teach them to work together, to feel that their voice matters, that they're seen, that they're appreciated, which doesn't mean that they get to run the company. It just means that we couldn't do it without them. We do it together. The second is that we listen to them. It's like with our children. Children have all kinds of ideas. Oh, let's go to Paris, to go to Disneyland Paris. Okay, well, maybe we can afford that. Maybe we can't. I know you'd like to go to Disneyland Paris, but that's not something we can do right now. But I hear that you would really like to do that. And if it's ever possible, we will do that. But the idea of treating each other with respect, of listening, because sometimes really great ideas come from people who are younger and less experienced. Sometimes what they are on is a journey to learn how to do what we can do. And sometimes they'll go beyond us. And so the whole idea of a company is to try to create that kind of a culture where people feel valued and they feel heard and they feel seen, and they understand that while they may not make the final decision, we will listen to them to see if there's something in it, and we'll really listen to them instead of just patronizing them. And the same thing is true, again, in my opinion, in a marriage. I mean, it could be that the woman is much more educated, much more bigger wage earner than the husband, or vice versa, or both of them may be very successful people. The idea that we're not in a race, we're not in a competition. Our family is the combination of what each of us brings, and whether what we bring is I stay home and I care for the children, and I make sure that the home is comfortable and clean and a nice place for you when you return, or whether you're out in the world too, and we have employees who do it for us, or grandmas at home helping us out. However we do it, everyone is part of the circle of equals. That whole idea of we're a family, we're a company, we're a country. We have a connection to each other.
Yes. And I remember when we last had a conversation, we were talking about how sometimes the school and the families are not on the same page, and that kinds of causes a lot of rift and conflict between both the parties, and this actually reflects in the child's development ultimately. And I remember you saying that if the school and the family are not on the same page, then you are not in the right relationship. Then you have to see what needs to be done, right? So, yes, I think the mutual respect has to be there in any sort of relationship, be it an organization or a marriage or a school and family collectively. But the mutual respect is what matters the most when you want to nurture that relationship and be successful in it. Yes.
Let me elaborate on that for a moment. There are, in so much of life, what we do is transactional. You go on holiday, you're at the ocean, let's say in Goa. Um, you see a street vendor, they have some sort of food. You buy that for your child, for your husband. You pay them the money and it's over. I mean, you never see that person again. Now, on the other hand, they can treat you with disrespect and make you feel really awful. But on the other hand, all they care about is you come, you see, you buy, you give them money, they give you food, you go away. Maybe you never see each other again. There are relationships that are like that, but even those relationships could be kind and gracious and courteous. Just as when you're driving in the street, someone who cuts you off, and I know in someone is kind to you and says, "Oh, please go in." I realize that probably would cause an accident, but the bottom line is kindness leads to more kindness. On the other hand, there are businesses where it's still transactional. Your employees don't work for you just because they love you. They work for you because you pay them and they need that pay. But hopefully it's more than pay. It is pay and it is appreciation, gratitude, a sense of belonging. So in some companies, the transaction is much more important. We need relationships to be careful and enduring. For example, when you go to a car dealer and you buy a car and you spend a lot of money, the car dealer hopes you'll come back to them again when you need a new car. And they certainly hope you'll tell their friends. But the reality is, you come to the showroom, maybe you come 2 or 3 times, you take a test drive, you decide what you want, you put in your order, you get your car, and you're gone. On the other hand, if you're running a school, every single day the parent shows up. Every single day, you and your employees have the opportunity to alienate the mother, the father, or the grandmother. Every single day, that parent has the ability to make your teacher feel this small, to humiliate them. The best relationships are one where you've chosen each other really carefully, like a marriage, which again, it's transactional, it's economic as well as anything else. We're giving each other comfort, we're giving each other affection, we're giving each other children and a family and a home. It's transactional. I'll take care of you, you take care of me, we take care of each other. But it's really important. We need to really invest in that transactional relationship. And so part of the idea is in America, we have a saying among young women, you've been dating all the wrong men. Okay? People who you would never want to marry. Bad people for you. And I suspect that all over the world, there are people, men and women, who get involved in relationships that are really not good for them. These are really not people they like or respect or would want to build a life with. And so my point is that not everyone that wants to buy something from your company is a good choice. And not every company that you approach is a good choice for you as the customer. And the more important the transaction is, like your child and your money, that's important. And so the whole idea is you can't change people. Many, many Montessori educators think that only if parents only understood, once we educate them, they'll be better. No. either they are drawn to you in a powerful way, or they're there for the wrong reason. Like my sister sends her kids to your school, or I hear that Montessori is really good. It'll prepare a child to get in the best university, whatever they think. And I think that the more care we put into the relationship, the more likely we are that everyone is going to be happy. Everyone is going to feel this is really good. For example, one of the companies that I consult with is, I believe, in the same city you're in, Bangalore, right?
Yes.
That's my friend Navneet Rastogi, who you may or may not know. What I appreciate about the Illumine company is not that they're the only software company in Bangalore that does good work, but it's the care that I have seen in the way they try to hear what their customers need, respond quickly to their customers' needs, price themselves in a way that works well for the market, but more than anything else, help everyone to have a really good experience. I don't care if you're running a restaurant, a hotel, a bus service, whatever you're doing in the world, when you operate with that kind of care, concern for the people that you work for you and the people who are your customers, things tend to do better. That's good business. That's Montessori applied to the office.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yes. So yeah, this is actually living the Montessori way. It's not limited to schools. It's not limited to family, but um, it's present in every aspect of relationship, life, and the work that every human being is doing. Yes. Yeah, that's true Montessori way. Yeah. So I had a lot of questions and very insightful answers from you, Tim. We are open to questions from audience. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask, and then we will end our session for today. You can either raise your hands or you can just type your question in the chat box and we will answer.
Now 10:30 at night there in Bangalore, right?
Yes, yes, it is.
I appreciate that any parent has stayed up this late to do this.
Yeah,
I know what it's like.
yes, I'm very thankful to our community. They actually we had our session rescheduled, so we have many of the people missing today. But yeah, we usually have good attendance from our people here.
Well, I apologize for the scheduling conflict last week. For some reason, I didn't have you on my calendar, and I was booked to give a all-day workshop at my alma mater, the Barry School. So I had to go, and I had to reschedule at the last minute. But I'm happy to do another session. It's in the future if you and your families want.
Sure, absolutely. They would love to.
I should tell you that the Montessori Foundation that I run does a lot of different things. We help people around the world, even in India, who are organizing new schools. I could say we help with money, we don't have money, but we help with wisdom and experience and help people avoid a lot of the mistakes that lead to either a loss of money or a failed school. And we also help people build really strong schools. The second thing that we do in addition to consulting and mentoring and coaching is we have an organization worldwide of Montessori parents called the Montessori Family Alliance. And people can learn about that by going to our website, montessori.org, and they'll see the link to the Family Alliance. Anyone in the world could join it. The Family Alliance does at this moment only work in English. However, we have a very carefully trained AI agent who I've been working with for 3 years, who has all of Montessori's books, all of my books, all of my essays and writing and all kinds of information. So she's not like going to Google or ChatGPT or something like that and getting a random answer. And it will help them with everything from decorating the home to figuring out what to do with a child who won't eat her dinner. You name it. It has the curriculum. It has all kinds of stuff. So anyone can join that. And I certainly invite anyone who's interested to look at it.
Uh, could you please send the link for that, the community, and I will share it with my uh, audience here.
Uh, yeah, how about after our session, I'll send you an email that has a bunch of information.
So I was just going through all the questions that I received during the registration. I think we have covered most of it. The only one question, one concern that one of the parents has is about performance anxiety and how to work on that in children.
Well, some children are simply nervous. I mean that happens. I think what you can do is simply try not to make it worse by making your child more fearful. The reality is sometimes they really know what they're supposed to do. They've got the dance routine memorized. They they have they're really ready to give the concert. They're really ready for the exam, and sometimes they're not. And all they can do is do the best that they can do. And we try to help them to learn how to calm themselves down. So some of this is like self-hypnosis and just mindset of visualizing themselves doing well and appreciating that everyone most of us are not as good as we wish we could be, that we will make mistakes, and it's not the end of the world. Just keep trying harder next time.
Actually, I would like to share my personal experience. Even though I am a Montessori trained adult and an educator, and I work with so many schools and all of that, but me as a mother is a different person. So when it comes to and I have only one child, so and she is into sports. She is interested, but I feel like my expectations sometimes over exceeds her capability, and somewhere I do not realize that, and I try to push more than she can endure, and then I have to step back. But by the time I'm stepping back, we already have a tussle. We already had an argument over that, and then she pushes herself or she closes herself so much that for me to again go and help her open up takes time. And then I have to introspect and then speak to her, have a discussion and a dialogue, and tell her what made me do that or what made me put pressure on her. It's not an easy journey, as you said. And me being an educator and an aware parent also finds it so hard. So yeah, it's going to take a lot of time for every person to understand. And as you very rightly mentioned, that it is not possible unless and until we go deep down within ourselves to see why we are behaving this way. Is it coming from our own childhood trauma, or is it, I think mostly because we have experienced these kind of scenarios. For me, I feel that I was forced and pushed this way.
Mm-hmm.
So I really feel like when I'm under stress, I reflect the same behavior that was imposed on me as a child. So yes, pressure anxiety is a thing, and even though we know it's difficult for us to get past it.
Well, again, self-knowledge and the desire to just keep monitoring your own feelings, listening to your own thoughts, asking yourself, is this real, or is this just in my mind? Am I doing good, or am I actually making it worse? I mean, this is all part of being human.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, before we help the children, I think we need to help ourselves first.
Yeah. That's what we call the spiritual preparation of the adult, of course.
Yes. So thank you so much, Tim, for joining us today. I am really, really thankful and grateful for you to accepting my invitation and coming and speaking to my audience. Yes, I would look forward to having another session with you in future, so that those who missed this time may definitely will attend the next time. And maybe with a lot more questions and their own curiosity to, get answered. So, yeah, thank you for joining today, and thank you
My,
everyone, yeah, for staying so late and being with us here. Thank you, all of you. You all have a great weekend ahead.
bye-bye.
Bye bye.